At the tail end of the Appalachian Mountains, where the Coosa River flows past Bluff Mountain, sits the small town of Gadsden. It was here, on a dreary winter day in 1947, that a son was born to Evelyn and Roy Baxter Moore. The first of 5 children, Roy Stewart Moore was born into a world of humble beginnings. His father was a construction worker, and they struggled to make ends meet. The Moore family lacked indoor plumbing, and they farmed for extra food. But every Sunday, they ate a square meal, played backyard football, and gave thanks to Almighty God at Gallant Baptist Church. Though lacking the wealth of this world, they found riches in Jesus Christ. Roy knew the meaning of discipline, hard work, and the value of higher education. He received an appointment to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, where he learned the importance of duty, honor, and country. Upon graduation, Roy Moore served in Germany and later in Vietnam, where he commanded an MP company near Da Nang. When Captain Moore returned home, he attended the University of Alabama School of Law, and after graduation was sworn in as Etowah County's first full-time Deputy District Attorney. After 5 years as a Deputy District Attorney and eager to fix the local justice system, he ran for Etowah County Circuit Judge. His efforts to reform the system were attacked by the courthouse crowd, causing him to lose his election. So he exited the political ring and entered another ring, where he fought as a kickboxer, and later spent time ranching in Australia. But eventually, he longed for home. Roy Moore returned to Alabama to focus on renewing his career in law, but God had other plans. He soon met Kayla, and they married in December of 1985. Together, they moved into a simple home that Roy had built with his own hands. Having little furniture, they decorated as best as they could, and they ended up with just one wall adorned with a simple handmade wooden plaque of the 10 Commandments. Busy providing for his new family, Roy Moore was unexpectedly appointed by Governor Guy Hunt as Etowah County Circuit Judge in 1992. Finally, the Lord had given to him what he had not been able to obtain on his own: an opportunity for public service and a chance to uphold justice. Judge Moore decorated his new courtroom with help from Kayla and friends, and decided that the plaque of the 10 Commandments that had adorned one wall in their new home would be better suited for his courtroom, serving as a reminder of our nation's godly heritage and the foundation of our moral law. From the very beginning, he was targeted by the ACLU. He opened his jury sessions with a prayer, just like other judges had done across the state for decades. But it was his display of the 10 Commandments that they objected to the most. So when he refused to remove the plaque at the request of the ACLU, he began his long battle to recognize the sovereignty of God.
Your understanding is that the federal court ordered that you could not acknowledge God, isn't that right?
Yes.
And if you resume your duties as Chief Justice after this proceeding, you will continue to acknowledge God as you have testified that you would today.
Absolutely.
No matter what any other official says.
Absolutely. Without, if I can clarify that, without an acknowledgement of God, I cannot do my duty. I must acknowledge God. It says so in the Constitution of Alabama. It says so in the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. It says so in everything I've read. So
the only point I'm trying to clarify, Mr. Chief Justice, is not why, but only that, in fact, if you do resume your duties as Chief Justice, you will continue to do that without regard to what any other official says. Isn't that right?
Well, I will do the same thing this court did in starting with prayer. That's an acknowledgement of God. I would do the same thing that justices do when they place their hand on the Bible and say, "So help me God." It's an acknowledgement of God. The Alabama Supreme Court opens with, "God save the state and the solemn court." It's an acknowledgement of God. In my opinions, which I've written many opinions, acknowledging God as the source, a moral source of our law. And I think you must.
During the trial of this matter, Chief Justice maintained his defiance, testifying that he stood by an earlier statement given by him to the Judicial Inquiry Commission, in which he stated in part, "I did what I did because I upheld my oath, and that's what I did, so I have no apologies for it. I would do it again." The Chief Justice showed no signs of contrition for his actions. Because of the magnitude of the decision with regard to sanctions for the Chief Justice's violation of the canons of judicial ethics was a difficult one for this court to make. Finding no other viable alternatives, this court hereby orders that Roy S. Moore be removed from his position of Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Alabama. This court is now adjourned.
It's a fight that has taken him from courthouse to state house, from churches to the halls of the U.S. Congress, from election as Chief Justice to his dismissal, and from obscurity to national hero. All the while, Judge Moore has simply tried to uphold his oath as a judge and recognize the divine foundation of this nation. But the fight is far from finished. And that is why it is such an honor to welcome Judge Moore back to Iowa, America's heartland. Because together, we can guide this nation through rough waters and back to the safe harbor as one nation under God.